killer instinct. You see, Shannon Sharp, what LeBron James developed over the years, what it took Pat Riley to show him those rings and D. Wade to show him those rings, what it took the stimulus package that the NBA gave him when they suspended Draymond Green so Cleveland could come back from the 3-1 deficit, when they said what he ultimately developed over the years, Jordan came into the league with an assassin. Remember when he dropped 63 on Boston at Boston Garden and Larry Bird called them God in gym shorts. That's what he said, God in gym shorts. I mean, this brother went religion because of Michael Jordan. This is what we found out about Larry Bird. This is what I'm talking about here. Career 30-point per game scorer, 10 times leading the league in scoring with the scoring title. This is what Michael Jordan did. This is Michael Jordan. This is what we talking about right here, okay? Because I'm trying to help you out, Shannon. I'm trying to help you out. Let's go to number 3 on the list. Please give it to me right now. Conquered nemesis. You see, Isaiah and the Detroit Pistons beat up on Michael Jordan and the Chicago Bulls for years. Who did Michael Jordan beat to finally get to the finals? It was them. When he went into the finals, I know that Magic was older and Vlade Divac and all of that stuff. Okay, that's fine. That's your first title. Remember when they were comparing him to Clyde Drexler and he had to take Clyde Drexler out in the Portland Trailblazers? Remember when they were talking about Charles Barkley in Phoenix and then ultimately Dan Marley and Kevin Johnson, who ultimately became the mayor of Sacramento, for crying out loud, because Kevin Johnson was big time. It didn't stop Michael Jordan from being Michael Jordan. 6 finals, 6 MVPs. That's what he brought to the table. And then after retiring and coming back, he beat Karl Malone and John Stockton twice, and Gary Payton and Sean Kemp. Not Sean Klump, Sean Kemp. That's what he did. That's number 3 on the list. Give me number 2. Please give it to me right now. Give it to me. Staying power. You see, he didn't have to go to Miami. He didn't have to go to Cleveland. He didn't have to go to LA. He didn't have to contemplate going to Golden State. He didn't have to sit up there and recruit dudes to come. What he did was they built from within. They built from within. That's what they did. Okay? And Scottie Pippen, he helped Skelter. Remember that migraine headache that Scottie Pippen had? All of a sudden, he got rid of that. Horace Grant Ballin, all of these cats. B.J. Armstrong and Steve Kerr and John Paxson, the big 3. You took Luke Longley and Scott Williams. Really? What this Michael Jordan we talking about here, okay? Now, LeBron ain't had a nemesis because the league changed. Got a little softer. Your definition of a nemesis was Roy Hibbert and Paul George and those boys. Just come on now. That's number 2 on the list. Give me number 1, please. Give me number 1 right now.
Man, I told you about breaking that up.
Unbeaten. Ladies and gentlemen, he don't have 6 finals losses. He got 6 finals wins, okay? Wins, all right? By the way, not only does he have 6 finals wins, he don't have a loss in the NBA Finals. 6-0, 6 NBA Finals MVPs. Oh, by the way, not one of those games reached the Game 7. Not one. 10 scoring titles, 9 times All-NBA Defensive First Team. Oh, by the way, does LeBron James have a Defensive Player of the Year award? No.
Hey, Robin, you robbed it. You was a part of that. You was a part of that.
Career. This is about who set the bar so high that the game itself revolved around trying to catch up. Stephen A. Smith said it loud and clear. Jordan is not just the GOAT, he is the blueprint, the foundation, the mold from which the modern game was built. No matter how many stats LeBron racks up or how many rings other stars chase, they are all chasing the shadow of a man who did it first, did it harder, and did it with a level of dominance the NBA may never see again. In this video, we break down 12 brutally honest quotes from Stephen A. Smith that expose the gap between Jordan and every other name mentioned in the GOAT conversation. If you're tired of revisionist history, if you believe in greatness that didn't need to be manufactured or sold, if you stand for a legacy that echoes across continents, then hit that like button, subscribe to NBA Hoops TV, and drop a comment below letting the world know why Michael Jordan set a bar no one can touch. Stephen A. opens the floodgates of truth by saying what everyone from Jordan's era already knew. There was never a comparison. Anyone who played in the late 80 seconds and 90 seconds will tell you flat out that Michael Jordan was not just the best, he was untouchable. His aura, ability, and impact put him so far ahead of the competition that pretending it was close was pointless. When Stephen A. says Jordan was head and shoulders above them all, he's not exaggerating. He's reminding us of the respect and helplessness opponents felt when facing MJ. Larry Bird called him God disguised as Michael Jordan. Magic Johnson admitted Jordan had surpassed them all. The league bent to his will. The rules evolved because of him. And most importantly, no one questioned it. That kind of reverence doesn't exist anymore. Today, we have debates, social media campaigns, and fabricated narratives about chasing the ghost in Chicago. But in Jordan's prime, there were no ghosts, just one man haunting the entire league. The fact that Stephen A. still has to say this decades later proves how stubborn some are in accepting the truth. Jordan's greatness wasn't up for discussion, it was common knowledge. Anyone who lived through it knows there was Jordan and then there was everybody else. Stephen A. throws the hardest punch when he questions how we even arrived at a point where LeBron's name is mentioned in the same breath as Jordan. He directed this at Scottie Pippen, a man who shared every inch of the battlefield with MJ. This isn't about points or stats padded in meaningless games, it's about the cold reality of legacy. When Jordan was on the court, no one wondered who the alpha was. He demanded the spotlight and owned the moment. He shattered dynasties, humiliated superstars, and did it all without asking for help from another city. LeBron has incredible longevity, but he's also had moments of doubt, defeat, and failure on the biggest stages. When Stephen A. asks how LeBron is even in the same conversation, he's voicing what many fans feel deep down. This generation has tried so hard to elevate LeBron that it forgets to respect the man who gave them the model to imitate. Jordan never switched teams to chase a ring. He made the Bulls the standard. LeBron chased greatness. Jordan defined it. That's why every time we compare the two, it feels forced, political, like we're insulting the very legacy that made basketball what it is. The truth is hard for some to swallow, but Stephen A. spits it out with no filter. Jordan is the name everyone is trying to reach, and most haven't even started climbing. When Stephen A. agrees with Jay Williams that Michael Jordan should have zero regrets, it's not just admiration, it's validation. Jordan lived the career every player dreams of. He left nothing on the table. 6 trips to the finals, 6 victories, 6 finals MVPs. He never saw a Game 7 in the finals because he didn't let it get that far. That's perfection. That's domination. That's why he can sleep at night knowing he gave the game everything and left as its undisputed king. When you look at LeBron's career, what do you see? Missed finals opportunities, championship losses, super teams that didn't work, a legacy still trying to prove itself with every passing season. Jordan doesn't need validation. He walked away on top twice and still came back to show the world he could drop 40 at 40. That's how you leave a legacy. Stephen A. knows the weight of that. He's not just talking as a fan. He's speaking from decades of covering the game, watching players struggle with regret, doubt, and legacy management. Jordan had none of that. He played with an edge, a fury, a competitive psychosis that made every possession a war. That intensity doesn't create regrets, it creates legends. Legends don't ask what if, they say, I did. Stephen A. Smith makes it crystal clear. When you talked trash to Michael Jordan, you weren't poking a bear, you were digging your own grave. That man didn't just play basketball, he hunted, stalked, and devoured. Open your mouth around Jordan and he'd make sure you never forgot it. That's not folklore, that's documented history. Ask Clyde Drexler, Gary Payton, or Byron Russell. They all tried to poke the lion and got mauled on national television. Jordan turned slights into slaughter. This quote from Stephen A. isn't about trash talk, it's about how Jordan wired his mentality to dismantle anyone who dared challenge him. He didn't just want to beat you, he wanted to erase you. When Smith says Jordan wants you, he means Jordan took every insult personally and responded with devastation. That killer instinct wasn't for show, wasn't curated for social media, wasn't a brand, it was who he was. You trash-talked Jordan and you triggered the most relentless competitor the sport has ever seen. That mentality is extinct today. Players laugh with opponents before games, exchange jerseys, and hug. Jordan did none of that. He wanted to punish you for stepping on the court. This is why he was feared. This is why Stephen A. continues to hammer this truth. No one has matched Jordan's ruthless focus. LeBron may have his highlights, Kobe may have mirrored the footwork, but no one replicated the fury that lived inside Michael Jordan. That fury made champions back down, teammates rise up, and the entire league bend to one man's obsession. Jordan. This wasn't basketball, this was domination. When Stephen A. says Jordan came into the league with an assassin's mentality, he's not using hyperbole, he's documenting a reality. From the moment Jordan laced up his sneakers in Chicago, he arrived like a force of nature, slicing through veterans, dismissing egos, and announcing his presence with every dunk, every mid-range jumper, every defensive lockdown. The term assassin isn't just about his scoring, it's about his mindset from day one. Jordan saw the game as a battleground. He studied opponents, identified weaknesses, and struck with precision. He didn't look for help or hide behind teammates. He took the ball, the responsibility, and your soul with it. Stephen A. is honoring a truth the newer generation forgets. Jordan didn't grow into greatness, he was born with it. That intensity, sharpness, and fire didn't develop slowly, it exploded immediately. LeBron had potential when he entered the league. Jordan had purpose. That's a monumental difference. While players today need time to develop their bodies, build chemistry, or figure it out, Jordan already knew who he was, a killer with a mission. That mindset separated him from every other player then and still does today. When you watch Jordan's highlights, you feel something different. A coldness, a ruthlessness, a hunger. He wasn't trying to impress, he was trying to conquer. That's what Stephen A. means by assassin. You don't negotiate with one, you run or get eliminated. Stephen A. Smith exposes a brutal truth that LeBron fans refuse to acknowledge. The path for LeBron was never as treacherous as it was for Jordan. When Stephen A. says LeBron never had a real nemesis, he's not diminishing LeBron's accomplishments. He's showing how different the eras were. Jordan had the bad boy Pistons waiting in the East, Magic's Lakers in the finals, battles with Barkley, Ewing, and Reggie Miller, men who would break your ribs to stop you. It was physical, violent, and Jordan thrived in it. LeBron's rivalries, on the other hand, were softer. When Stephen A. sarcastically names Roy Hibbert and Paul George as LeBron's nemesis, he's highlighting how light the resistance was. That's not a knock on Hibbert or George, but if those are your villains, the path was never dark enough to compare. Jordan earned every inch of his dominance, climbing a mountain of giants and leaving them broken. LeBron's career, while long and productive, had fewer wars. He switched teams to form super teams, found smoother roads in the East, and benefited from rule changes that protected star players. Jordan didn't need those crutches. He faced the harshest, most competitive version of the NBA and came out spotless. That's why his 6 rings shine differently. That's why the scars he wore mean more. Stephen A. is forcing fans to accept this uncomfortable truth. Without a worthy nemesis, LeBron's journey can never match the grit of Jordan's era. If the climb was easier, the peak never felt as earned. Jordan earned it all against monsters. Stephen A. Smith doesn't just give flowers to Michael Jordan, he traces the entire ecosystem of modern basketball back to him. When he says Jordan gave birth to the LeBron James lifetime deal, the Steph Curry lifetime deal, the Kevin Durant lifetime deal, he's saying none of these million-dollar contracts, sneaker empires, or global endorsements would exist without the groundwork Jordan laid. This is more than influence, it's creation. Before Jordan, NBA players were athletes. After Jordan, they became global icons. Before Jordan, endorsements were nice. After Jordan, they were empires. That transformation didn't happen by accident. Jordan's dominance on the court was matched by his cultural takeover off it. It wasn't just selling shoes, it was selling excellence, obsession, and immortality. The world bought in. That's why Nike became a religion with Air Jordans at the center. That's why every player today chases not just championships, but branding deals, signature shoes, and commercial clout. Stephen A. is hammering this down. The billion-dollar wave modern stars ride was created in Jordan's wake. LeBron didn't create the playbook, he inherited it. Durant didn't innovate the system, he profited from it. Curry didn't rewrite the rules, he's thriving in a game Jordan revolutionized. The business of basketball, the glitz, the money, the fame, it was all birthed by Michael Jordan. That legacy is deeper than rings. It's about impact, about how Jordan elevated the role of a player into something untouchable. When Stephen A. points this out, it's not nostalgia, it's historical fact. Without Jordan, the financial structure of modern NBA greatness collapses. Every superstar should be writing Jordan a thank you check every season. He didn't just raise the ceiling, he built the entire house. When Stephen A. reminds us that Michael Jordan was the first 40-year-old to drop 40 in an NBA game, He's not tossing out a cool stat. He's throwing gasoline on the fire of Jordan's legacy. That number isn't about age, it's about defiance, about telling time, critics, and the entire NBA that greatness doesn't retire. Jordan wasn't supposed to come back, but he did. At an age when most players can barely keep up in practice, he dropped 40 on professional athletes in their prime. That's not just impressive, it's mythical. It spits in the face of logic, laughs at limitations, and confirms what Stephen A. has been saying for years. Jordan was built different. This performance wasn't a farewell tour highlight, it was a warning, a declaration that even on the brink of middle age, Jordan was still the standard. You can't name another player in history who came back from retirement on a new team in a new era and still looked like a god among mortals. That game wasn't about scoring, it was about legacy. It was Jordan's way of saying the bar is still here and none of you are touching it. Not LeBron, not Kobe, not anybody. Because greatness doesn't fade or slow down, it burns hotter with time. That's the truth Stephen A. is pointing to. Jordan didn't just play basketball, he challenged the rules of aging and won. Stephen A. Smith delivers a brutal shot when he declares someone is an imitator, not an originator. You don't need a name to know who that shot is aimed at. The modern stars who borrowed Jordan's style, copied his mannerisms, took his blueprint and called it their own. Imitation may be flattery, but it's not invention. Stephen A. is reminding everyone that while many may play like Jordan, dress like Jordan, or brand themselves like Jordan, they'll never be Jordan. You can't copy creation. You can't duplicate revolution. Jordan did things the league had never seen. He brought elegance, brutality, finesse, and cold-blooded determination that turned basketball into art. Everything players do now, the fadeaways, signature shoes, mental warfare, global branding, came from Jordan. He did it first, best, and in an era built to break you, not protect you. LeBron may have more assists, Kobe may have mirrored the moves, but none originated the spirit that drives the modern NBA. That came from Jordan. When Stephen A. says imitator, he's telling fans to look deeper. Don't be fooled by highlights or distracted by stats. Ask who inspired it all. That answer is one man, the man who walked so every other star could run, who dominated before social media, super teams, or friendly rivalries. Jordan didn't just play the game, he authored the manual. Now everyone is reading from it, hoping to capture a fraction of what he had. But a copy is never the original. That's what Stephen A. means. Jordan set the bar by being the bar. Stephen A. expresses deep frustration when he says it saddens him that we have to travel across the ocean to hear the truth about Michael Jordan, that he is the greatest ever. This isn't just commentary, it's a plea to remember who built the foundation of everything basketball has become. It's heartbreaking that a nation so obsessed with the NBA can forget the man who shaped it. Jordan is celebrated in Italy, revered in Asia, studied in Europe, yet in his own backyard, people are too quick to prop up the next superstar, crown the next king, argue for the next legacy. Stephen A. says this is not just wrong, it's disgraceful. If the rest of the world sees Jordan as the standard, why are we debating? Why are we trying to equalize him with players who don't belong in the same category? No metric can explain how Jordan moved culture. No statistic quantifies the psychological grip he held over the league. No comparison can define what he meant to the game, not just as a player, but as an icon. That's why it hurts to see his greatness debated. While we bicker over rings and efficiency ratings, fans in other countries simply bow in respect. They see what Stephen A. sees. Jordan isn't just a memory, he's a monument, the standard for the present, the aspiration for the future. Forgetting that is forgetting the soul of basketball. Stephen A. is emotional because the man who gave us everything is being measured against players who inherited a league he built. That should make every basketball fan angry. To forget Jordan is to lose the heartbeat of the game. In another emotional punch, Stephen A. makes it clear that it's not just sad, it's shameful that the declaration of Jordan as the greatest ever echoes from Italy instead of roaring from America. The greatest player in basketball history, the face that turned the sport into a global empire, is more celebrated on foreign soil than in the country that made him. What does that say about us? What does that say about the state of the conversation? Stephen A. is right to be furious. Jordan shouldn't shouldn't need validation from overseas. He should be canonized at home, in the arenas he dominated, in the culture he transformed. Instead, we get caught up in what-ifs, maybe LeBron, and constant revisionism. But go to Italy, China, or any country that fell in love with basketball because of Jordan. The truth is simple, pure, loud. Jordan is the greatest ever. When that reverence comes from a place with no American sports bias, it carries more weight. It means the myth of Jordan wasn't media hype, it was undeniable generational dominance. The fact that Americans are so obsessed with chasing the next big thing that we've forgotten forever is a tragedy. Stephen A. isn't ranting.
He's reminding us that if foreign fans must tell us who changed the game, maybe we never understood greatness in the first place. If Italy can scream it, so should we. There's a reason Stephen A. firmly states that no one ever looked at Michael Jordan and said it was his fault. There was never a moment, game, or series where Jordan let you down. That's a level of consistency that doesn't exist in today's NBA. Players have bad nights, off games, but Jordan had standards. He didn't lose in the finals, didn't get swept, didn't disappear when it mattered most. Nobody ever had to make excuses for him. There were no what-ifs. No, if only his teammates showed up. No, he didn't have help. Jordan showed up every time, every moment, every possession. He made it clear that being the best wasn't about stats. It was about responsibility. When he stepped on the court, he owned the result. That's why fans, teammates, and coaches never pointed fingers at him. He carried the pressure, welcomed the blame, and delivered the results. That's what separates him. That's what makes him untouchable. Stephen A. isn't highlighting a fun fact. He's pointing out the core of Jordan's legacy: reliability. In a sport where narratives change with every missed shot, Jordan's story never needed an editor. He wrote perfection, and perfection is unblameable. That's what today's fans need to understand, what the LeBron generation forgets. It's not about how long you play, it's how you play. When the lights are brightest, Jordan never needed defending because his game did all the talking. Stephen A. Smith's message across every quote is a war cry, a bold, unapologetic declaration that Michael Jordan is more than the greatest basketball player of all time. He's the origin, the architect, the godfather of everything this league has become. From the way players